1. Hello and welcome to episode 151 of the KBMOD podcast. We are alcoholic as fuck, doing some rum shots during this cast. It is...
There's nothing worse.
There is actually nothing worse than 151. If you've never had a
They
shot...
set it on fire, it's worse.
Oof.
Yeah, that might
Well,
be.
That's the only
That's
reason it
pretty
exists
nice.
is to light it on fire.
that's actually true of a lot of things. They get worse when you set them on fire.
Sandwiches.
Speak from experience.
Sandwiches much better not on fire.
I much prefer an untoasted, not untoasted, but like engulfed in flame sandwich.
My
An
bed.
unignited sandwich. Thanks.
My pillows.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
bed is a lot more comfortable when you're not screaming in agony from the flames that are consuming your flesh.
Steph, Tim subscribed? The
Tim
hell
just
is wrong?
scribbled.
Tim, good lord. Today's date is July 27th, 2014. And yes, we are sponsored by Blue Microphones, the most comfortable t-shirt that I wear. I don't know if they even sell t-shirts. They fucking should, because that shit is comfortable. Really good starter mics. If you're looking for a mic to get started with, the one that's in Blah's face right now. Product
how I
placement
podcast
city.
now.
Yeah. Blue Microphone's good. The Snowball's a great little starter mic if you're looking to start streaming, that kind of thing. So shout outs to Blue. Brandon, we are going to start with you this week because you weren't here last week, and we really wanted to talk to you then, but you were in the air.
I know.
So, QuakeCon, Doom, we speculated on Doom because we didn't see it, but tell us about the whole thing.
It's here's the thing: is Doom. I think a lot of people have a lot of different expectations for what the next Doom game will be. And I think at this point, it's probably going to be hard to please everyone. You're going to have old school fans who want it to be exactly like it used to be. You're going to have new school fans who don't care. The coolest part of it was that it looks really fast paced and it looks super super gory. I mean, really bloody, really gory, just like you want from a Doom game. It looks almost over the top gory in the way that you expect Doom to be. And I'm sure, if people are interested in Doom, they've probably read up, I think PC Gamer posted an article about it. But there's like this finisher system where when an enemy's about to die, you can do a finisher like up close. And that's everything from ripping a demon's head in half to like pulling its heart out. There's a lot of I mean, I think the thing is that those are really awesome. And they'll be really awesome if there's a bunch of them. I was actually talking to John about this earlier today, I think that will be a really cool feature as long as people don't get sick of them. If there's only like 10 of those animations, they'll get really boring really fast.
Yeah, PC Gamer said that was actually happening in the demo, that repeats were happening.
I didn't notice many repeats. I mean, you're gonna probably have some repeats, but the thing is, the game is still like a year plus out, so I wouldn't expect all of those to be in their early alpha build. But that's the thing is, I think they need to have like 200 of those where you don't ever get tired of seeing them. Otherwise, that could just end up being repetitive and boring. Right. But the other thing is, it looked like the different enemies will have different animations. Like there was I don't even know, kind of like a maybe Jabba the Hutt looking demon thing, kind of like a boss, and the animation for that was, I think it was like taking his heart out or something and stuffing it down his mouth.
Oh my God.
I mean, yeah, it was like really pretty gruesome stuff. But it looks like if they have cool ones, like cool unique ones for the bosses, that was a really neat feature. The movement looked pretty good. I mean, the graphics looked impressive for their stage that they're at right now. Yeah. I mean, I saw some screen tearing and stuff, but that's to be expected. I think the fact that they even showed gameplay when they have not announced a release date. I would guess that this may be playable at QuakeCon next year. Like absolute earliest, maybe playable alpha at QuakeCon next year, but they're probably still a ways out. I was impressed with it. I mean, as an old school Doom fan, I don't think there was anything there not to like. It's just that you also have to be skeptical at this point because of the history that this game has had, where they've scratched it at least once that we know of.
Yeah.
This looks like they're on the right track, but it's hard to tell from something that they clearly put together for that show. But I liked it. I mean, if I had to put my $60 down right after that demo, maybe not. But I think once people see it, they'll understand. It's like if you are an aficionado for the old Doom games, I think this scratches that itch. If you're not, you might end up passing on it.
Do you think it's only a year out? Because they showed Rage like 20 months, I think it was, before it released.
No. Oh, I'm saying
He
like
said at
at
least.
least a year.
I'm saying at least a year out. Like the absolute earliest I think it would be playable is QuakeCon next year.
Yeah, playable, not even out.
I'm talking like early alpha, like first playable announcement type thing at QuakeCon.
Okay. How was the?
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. If you were finishing up Doom.
No, I mean, they actually showed two different sequences. The first one was just kind of going through one of like the early levels and killing some different types of zombies. The second one actually had a boss fight. The boss fight looked pretty easy, but that may have been because you don't want to lose
Yeah.
during your demo. But they had like the movement. It looked like they had taken some stuff from Titanfall. Like some, you can double jump. You can, if you're close to catching a jump, you can like pull yourself up off of a ledge. So that kind of stuff looked like it could be really interesting for the multiplayer aspect. Like I'm hoping that they have like a vertical element to the multiplayer maps. And they didn't say anything about multiplayer. It's just that's kind of the sense that I got, is that hopefully movement will be important in the multiplayer, which is as we've talked about before, something that I think is lacking in a lot of first-person shooters right now.
All right. And how was the rest of the show?
The show was great. I mean, the BYOC was packed. I tweeted out some pictures of some of the awesome cases that I saw. I mean, just the builds there, like having these sexy custom water-cooled builds is just like normal. It's not even like noteworthy. You just see some of these machines, like some guy, like some of these people aren't even sitting on the edge. They're just sitting in the middle of a row, and you walk over and they just have this gorgeous water-cooled build. But yeah, I mean, just the PCs were awesome. I actually didn't play a whole lot, but I just I just enjoy walking around and being part of it. I was doing work a lot of the time, but just like sitting there in the middle of all of it in the dark room is a lot of fun.
Saw the dual CPU build you picture. That was
that
fucking
was
ridiculous.
So gross.
Old Skull Trail type shit.
Yeah, that was probably the most obscene one in terms of like price.
Yeah.
But I mean, there were just so many. Like there were quite a few custom case mods from from off the shelf cases, but they had modded either like the window or the paint job, just like super impressive stuff. I feel like it gets better every year.
So, QuakeCon was awesome. We got a little taste of Doom. What did you play this week? Did you dive into Naxxramas? Because we can talk about it.
I did. Yeah,
At
so
least
I'll just keep...
3 or 4 of us did.
Yeah, it was pretty easy to beat, though. I beat it like the first night in an hour or two.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the first swing was really cool. I really like the direction they've taken with it, where you're trying to beat these AI bosses. As an experienced Hearthstone player, it was pretty easy. I mean, like I only had to make one new deck to beat the last boss, which is
in heroic or normal.
Heroic.
Okay, I haven't even.
Which I find surprising.
I haven't done the heroics yet.
I theory crafted all 3 of the heroic bosses personally.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I got lucky, but I just used my regular ladder decks on the first 2, and they worked fine. The last one, you have to make kind of a gimmicky deck. I won't spoil it for people that haven't done it, but that's the only one that took a little bit of thought. But like, I don't know how else they would make that single player work, because they did make it kind of challenging, and it was fun for the day that I played it. So I think I will easily get my $20 worth out of all of those wings.
Right.
I just wish they would release them faster. But Naxx is really cool. I mean, the cards are already starting to shift the meta a little bit in the constructed game.
I'm struggling as to where to put them, like, because I don't have all of them. Obviously, I haven't beaten the heroic, and I've beaten the druid class challenge and all of normal, but I haven't even attempted the rogue class challenge. But
The one that's shaking up the meta the most right now, I think, is the Nerubian egg.
yes,
Because you just buff it early game, and then it turns into a 4/4, which is pretty huge.
It's ridiculous.
Void Terror is actually usable now.
Wow, did you guys hear
kind
that?
of.
You hear that thunder? That was
Yeah.
That is
huge.
pretty wild.
That was pretty legit.
There's like tornado warnings and shit, isn't there?
It's just passing through, I think. I don't think it's sticking around very long, but my internet should be fine. Unless I lose power, of course. Yeah, I think I lost once to each thing in normal, and then pretty much killed it the second time. I already put Maxna in a deck, though, because that card is pretty great, actually.
Yeah,
Despite not having
I've
much
seen
attack.
her.
Yeah. She
I've
just
seen
kills
her in
everything.
quite a few decks.
She's got 8
especially
health,
like
and she
especially
kills
priest
everything.
decks where you can kill something and then like Circle of Healing, or just some way to keep that card alive. It's pretty solid.
For those that don't know, Max is a 2/8, but she has the same thing that Viper or Cobra card has, where anything she attacks dies.
Yeah, she's just a huge Emperor
so-
Cobra.
Yeah. So it's pretty good. She's six mana, but I immediately put her in a couple decks. I've been just struggling with where to put the which decks of mine to put the eggs in, as well as the 1/2 that death rattles into 2/1/1s.
Yeah,
The
I've seen that one a
spiderlings or
lot.
whatever.
I'm running right now. I'm actually trying to get a Warlock quest done. It's similar to Zoo, but it uses Nerubian eggs, the haunted spiders, and Power Overwhelming and Void Terror. And it's actually working really well so far. I'm just playing on rank, but I mean that's a really great way to activate it. I'm also running Defender of Argus, so I have a couple of different ways to pop the eggs when
Right.
needed. So anything that like directly kills your own minion is good, but that's mostly only going to be found in Warlock. Other classes need to buff it in some way, or I don't know. You can run like in Druid. Excuse me. You have a whole bunch of ways of giving a minion taunt. You can Keeper of the Wild or Keeper of the Grove rather to like drop the 2 damage onto the egg, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I feel like right now Warlock with these first cards, Warlock has become even more versatile, and it's already arguably the
yeah.
strongest class.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
So I think it'll like, because we already know what cards are coming out with the next wings. I'm just like waiting. It's like, just wait until these next cards are out, because there are a lot of hard counters to some things in the meta right now. So there's not. I haven't really put a whole lot of effort into like rebuilding my decks and changing things around.
Yeah. All right. You play anything else this week?
Yeah. So I'm not sure if I mentioned on the podcast or not, because I've been gone for a couple weeks, but I got a 144 hertz monitor.
Nice.
I sold one of my monitors to Blah, who needed one. So I grabbed one of the ASUS 144 hertz, and it is incredible. That, along with disabling Arrow, which has been apparently the bane of my frame rate existence without me knowing it for a long time. Disabling Arrow with the new monitor. I mean, everything from like CS:GO is probably the most notable difference.
Yeah.
But even Hearthstone, I hadn't launched Hearthstone and turned Arrow off. I didn't realize just how much more I enjoy playing it when all the animations are just incredibly crisp and smooth. It makes everything better. So we've been playing a bunch of CS:GO in the Mumble, doing like 10 mans and competitive and stuff, which has been a lot of fun.
I've been looking
and
at buying one of those, the Asus one in particular.
It's very good. There's like a custom. I've never done this with a monitor, but there's a Reddit post about a custom color profile. It's a .icc file. You download I guess people that care about color accuracy maybe create their own custom color profiles for different monitors. I've never done this with a monitor before, but there were instructions for this one, and it made a massive difference. So something to look out for if you have a popular monitor, like Google, your monitor's model name and new color profile or something to that respect.
Yeah.
It made a huge difference for mine.
Very cool.
Yeah, I did it
John
with
and I
my
just
Mac
started
as well.
getting back into America's Army yesterday, so we'll see how long that goes.
Fucking fun, dude.
It's a good game.
Up next, Hex. Welcome back to the
Yeesh.
cast.
Thank you.
What have you been doing this week?
This last week has been a lot of playing the hospital game still, so I've been in and out with kidney stones again. That's been pretty fantastic.
Oof.
Ugh.
But gaming wise, I reorganized my office because it was really cluttered. I got rid of a bunch of garbage that I just never used anymore. I'm actually playing Grand Theft Auto 4 right now because Ice Enhancer 3 was released, and it makes this game look ridiculous.
Better than the last version did?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I posted some screenshots on Twitter that I like from very early in the game. I just did the first mission where you drop Michelle off at her apartment. Like that's how early I am, and it looks freaking phenomenal. It doesn't look as good as some of the stuff. Like some people were comparing it to like, oh, it's better than GTA 5 PC that's been released. It's not. There's still some pretty low cruddy textures, but all the paint for all the cars, all the lighting effects are way better. So it's really easy to install. A couple people asked me if it was complicated to install. You literally just drag it into your install directory for Steam and you're done.
How big is it?
80 megs, 90 megs maybe. It's not. It's a little. The guy who runs that mod, he built a site just to host it, and it's just getting hammered. It took me about 20 minutes to download it, but it was worth the wait.
Yeah, I don't think it brings in its own textures or anything, John. Not like it just makes everything in that game look much better.
He has a link for the ENB series stuff that makes all the lighting look awesome, and then there are links for certain texture packs like all the foliage is updated with one of his texture packs. There's HD roads. There's a way to change the paint on the cars so it looks more metallic, but it involved me editing some file in the game directory, and I didn't feel like screwing up with that, so I just left it alone. But it's definitely, if you haven't played GTA 4 in a while, I'd never finished it actually, so I think I'm going to try and play through a big hunk of it. It makes it look way better on a modern PC. Other than that, we played we played OlliOlli this week. That was pretty awesome.
That game looks so sweet, I must say.
It is like the perfect amount. I think you said something like Tony Hawk meets Bit Trip Runner.
It is Tony Hawk, yeah.
It's about the best description you could put on it.
That is an interesting description.
It's 2D, so it's like a scroller, like Bit Trip, but you're doing skate tricks, and you have like challenges per level that you have to beat. So you know how you had to beat certain amounts of challenges per Tony Hawk level, and then the next level would unlock.
Yep, it's like
that kind of thing. Yeah.
But the controls, so the unique thing about it is it controls kind of like the Skate series of games where all your tricks are mapped to the joystick. And then every time you land or transition into a new trick, you have to hit A to stick the landing, or you fail and it dies and it ends your combo. So there's literally a run, and I think it's the port levels that it's like, if you can do this entire level in one long trick sequence, it gets you like an achievement and it unlocks the next level. So I played that level like 10 times just to never hit the ground, just grind with tricks in between. And then you rack up like a 200,000 point combo, and it feels super awesome to do.
Nice. And you did play, and we can now talk about this, The Crew.
Yes, we played The Crew. That game
Looks so good.
I was excited for that game when they announced it, and I really, now that I've played it, it scratches the Need for Speed Underground itch that I have been looking to scratch for about a decade at this point.
You and a lot of people at this point.
The car customization is pretty in-depth. You can get parts from winning races like you could in Underground 2. The controls feel good. You can drive basically from one end of the country to the next, and it's truncated, but like Polygon even posted a video, I think, that said you can get from like Miami to Los Angeles in 40 minutes is how long it takes in actual real time.
Which is totally not true, by the way. It's way longer. It's way longer than 40 minutes, let me tell you that right now.
It took me 40 to get from Detroit to Vegas. And there's no loading screens. Like you start in a city and go, hey, I want to go to the other coast, and it just seamlessly loads the game as you drive. The only time there's loading screens is if you're hopping into a race or into like a garage, and even then there's like 3 seconds and you're back up and running.
Yeah, and that's just because it's putting you in like a build menu. Like it's essentially when you're in the garage or the car dealer, you're just in a menu screen. So that's why it loads into that. But otherwise, in the game itself, you will never see a loading screen.
I don't know what it is about games like that, like driving games, where you can just drive.
Mhm.
I for some reason I loved Driver back on the PlayStation.
Well, this was
and then
made
when
by the Driver San Francisco guys. So
Oh, really? I
yeah.
didn't know that. And then like that's one of the big reasons I really liked Grand Theft Auto when when those various Grand Theft Autos came out because I really like driving around, not necessarily racing, but just
Mhm.
driving and seeing stuff and having it modeled after the US
Mhm.
is really cool.
Can you like drive to the Grand Canyon and shit? Like, does that stuff
Yeah,
actually
so-
exist in the game?
So
Yeah.
Arbo and I, Hex played it a bit, but Arbo and I beat every mission and then played it also for like 6 more hours of just driving on top of that, because we were able to make our own crew and actually make that work. So we did drive. We drove from Detroit to Lake Tahoe, circled around Lake Tahoe, then drove into San Francisco, and then took the one down the coast to LA. Like, this is all you can do, all of this. This was like 90 minutes worth of driving because we were actually like staying on the roads and stuff. If you had rally spec, you could, as the crow flies, through a lot of this, a lot of back country. But then we left LA and went out through the Grand Canyon. John drove through the whole Grand Canyon and then went down to Meteor Crater and the big crater in Arizona, which is in the game. And we drove around there, and there's ramps set up in Meteor Crater, so you can do a bunch of jumps inside the crater and shit. So yeah, all that stuff's in there. It took us from like, I don't know, that was like an hour and a half of driving, like doing that big sort of ring trip. Depending on how straight the roads are, so cards can really be customized, as Hex was saying. But per car, so we don't know how many cars are going to be in the final version. There were only 14 you could buy in the beta. There's only 2 towns worth of missions available too in the beta. And that was at least 3 or 4 hours of gameplay, really. So there were only 14 cars available. Each car in the game has 5 specs that you can put it in. So let's say you buy a Mustang starting out. You then unlock specs for it. So there's dirt spec, which is like pretty good on street and on dirt. There's street spec, which is kind of the one you're going to be using most of the time. There's raid spec, which is just straight up like Baja Rally type stuff. There's race, because there are actual racetracks in the game if you're into that. Laguna Seca's in it.
Oh, I didn't know Laguna Seca was in it. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, we went and played it. It is not as accurate as a game where you would just be playing tracks like Forza would be. Let me just say that straight out. Like the corkscrew in Laguna Seca, which is a famous curve, the elevation's all fucked up compared to what it is in reality or what it is in any other game. Like, but there will be challenges on there. The other thing, Brandon, if you're driving from somewhere, there's challenges on the way, even if you're
That
just
was
driving.
the best part.
So you can
That's
just
awesome.
like, there will be jumps that'll come up. There will be like slalom challenges. These are just randomly in the road. You can choose to do them or not. No loading screens. Again, it's just gonna.
That was seriously, I think, my favorite part of that game is I was just cruising through Detroit, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, take this jump right here. And it turns on a mission as soon as you touch this little, like, it was like a little blue circle on the road. And then you just fling your car as far as you possibly can. It's like, all right, you got so far, gold medal, go. And then
Yeah.
it just sticks you back into the game. It's just those little distractions for, oh, well, it's going to take a while to drive from here to here. So let's do this long course on the highway, or let's do some jumps to kind of end that.
Yeah.
Just boring drive, but you can fast travel if you don't want to drive across the country. You can just jump.
Or
from
if your
one state to the
buddy's
next.
in LA, you can just fast travel to LA. As long as you've discovered it. Like the first time you go to LA, unless a mission brings you there, you
You got to
I
drive
mean,
it.
You could come right into the game in Detroit in the beginning, and after you do the first intro quest, you can just drive to LA right away.
Mhm.
I mean, you wouldn't really want to technically, because there'd be nothing for you to do there except for because a lot of the road challenges are also gated by level, and you could only get. So your driver has a level, and they only allowed you to get up to level 10 in the beta, and then your car has a level 2 depending on what parts you put on it. The parts you win from all the challenges. So if you do really good, you get a gold level part, which will have like, maybe a better engine, but it also will provide a bonus to acceleration too. Whereas the bronze part might only just be a regular better engine. So it gives you incentive to also, if you are a completionist, you want to go gold everything. I mean, it's going to be a while, but you could definitely do it if you wanted to. There's hundreds and hundreds of missions.
Well, and then on top of that, if you don't want to do, like, let's say you just want to do the driving aspect, like Brandon, you said you're not necessarily big into racing. Every town has these spots you can find called monuments, where it's like, hey, you drive around, you find the monument, and then it gives you like a cutscene of part of that city drawn really well.
Like
so if you just want to drive, it's really fun.
It's like a neighborhood, a famous neighborhood in a city, or like Mount Rushmore has like a monument thing, or like, but there's tons of them, like various points of interest around Detroit.
That's really cool. I like just the idea of exploring with a friend or two as you drive.
Yeah.
I think I mean, as long as the content is there, I feel like that's worth the money. Even if I don't play it much past, just like exploring the cities for a little bit, doing some of the quests. I mean, I can get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
A lot of people in chat were just like, I could see coming home after a hard day at work and then just driving in the crew for a bit just to relax. Like, a lot of people were saying that. I could see it too. It's pretty fun.
Yeah, it was really good. I was glad I got a beta key. Thank you, Rocco, for giving me his.
Yeah, I mean, again, lots of promises, but the fact that I've gotten to play the game now makes me a lot more confident in it. Although a lot of systems were not functioning how they will function in the final version, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, I had turned SLI off just to play the game.
Yeah, like that, it was locked at 30 FPS in the most shoddy way ever. Like, there was a thing in my documents that even people who aren't used to editing stuff, you just open it, and it's just basically called the crew settings, basically, in documents. And you just change the 30 to 60, and it's 60 FPS. And it doesn't do anything detrimental to your game. So
when I did that, it broke my game.
Yeah, it's fine.
It started like shit, and as soon as I put it back, it was fine.
Yeah.
Still, it felt kind of like driving through molasses at 30, but it was so much fun I didn't care.
Also,
that's a game I want to play at 144.
Yeah.
On Ubisoft.
If you like Need for Speed Underground, if you like that feel of a game, this is not Forza Motorsport.
No.
This is not Gran Turismo. So if you're looking for ultra realism, get iRacing or wait for Project Cars. Like, that is what you want. If you want fun, arcadey ridiculousness, a lot of the time, like some of the physics shit in that game, I got hit by a train and I flew like into another city, dude. I flew so far. Like, it was ridiculous.
It's one way to get there.
But you have like perks you can level up for like better braking, better acceleration. So your driver has like perks, aka talent points. It's very RPG. Like, it's very RPG. And then each car has the 5 specs, and each spec has its own parts to unlock. So if you're into all that kind of stuff, like, you are going to be very much at home with this game. I think so far it's a buy for me.
Yeah, it's the best Need for Speed game that has been made in a long goddamn time.
Yeah. So, play anything else?
No, I think that was pretty much it this week.
Alrighty. John, Army.
A little bit of America's Army, some WoW, some Hearthstone. Obviously played through Curse of Naxxramas. A few games of League of Legends here and there. Some Counter-Strike.
Is this a new America's Army game, or is this?
It's newer. I think
is
it's
it
what
the one
made.
No, it is. No, it is new.
Something.
Yeah, it's the same one that they've had out for like a year, sort of in beta. I think it's still in beta.
Was playing this last year, I think.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Still in beta.
I do recommend it.
A bunch of us played it for like a little bit.
What's it called?
Which
one?
America's Army Proving Grounds.
Proving Grounds.
It's on Steam.
It's a beta.
Yeah, it's really good.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit slow, but I mean, it might not be for everybody. But I kind of enjoy thinking about it and then killing people and realizing I'm just smarter than they are.
Okay, I see. Yeah, this is what.
That's what a serial killer says.
No, it's very. Yeah, I played this with Steve from Newegg and Chez last year. Yeah, I should probably download it.
Even like the regular sites have huge sway. I mean, it's definitely the most realistic game you'll find, I think, out there right now, as far as first-person shooters go.
Question about the crew from Jack Killer Bob: is every town or city in their crew? No, you make your own crew out of like Steam friends, or in this place, fucking Uplay. That is the one big downside to this game, at least in beta. So. Fuck Uplay, it's so bad. Ugh. I don't need 4 fucking clients open, by the way.
That's actually why I didn't play in the beta. I had a key, and I was like, oh, wait, I would have to download Uplay to play it,
Like,
so I didn't.
when I am sitting here with Steam, Origin, fucking Blizzard's client, and Uplay open just to play games that I want to play, something is wrong.
What do
Why
you
can't
what do you
we
think like you said in beta at least? What do you really think the odds are that they're going to drop Uplay?
Well, no, I
No.
think
Well,
it will be
there
available through
there are
Steam. This
Ubisoft
beta
games
was
that
not.
like Assassin's Creed. You
Yeah.
open them through Steam, and then that somehow like opens a connection to Uplay. But I
Yeah.
don't have
Right.
to install Uplay. It's still, to be clear, it's still incredibly stupid.
Yeah.
But at least
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
up.
have to install.
Well,
the
like
actual
the beta
Uplay.
was
bad.
the beta was not redeemable through Steam. The beta was running
Right.
through Uplay only.
Yeah,
so
you
that
had
was
to
the-
have
What was
Uplay
really
as a
funny is
standalone.
Uplay was crashing constantly. Like
Mhm.
while you were playing it, the game would be fine, but Uplay would crash out.
Yeah, I had that happen several times.
But like when I've got Battlefield 4, admittedly is the only thing I have on Origin installed, but I've got 4 clients I gotta have open just to play video games. It's ridiculous.
The League of Legends launcher, the Smite launcher, got the 6.
That about it, John? Some America's Army.
Yeah, that's about it.
Alrighty. Blah.
Played through Naxxramas, beat it in the first day because I'm a terrible employee. 'Cause I did that at work. Been playing a little bit of Counter-Strike, usually in the after hours at work when I'm kind of done for the day because Counter-Strike is still crashing my computer and I don't know why. And I've been playing a lot of Melee at the office. Anybody who watched the Twitch office Melee tournament, I actually placed second, which was considered a huge upset, and it is way better than what I expected to place in that tournament. We actually have a lot of really good Melee players in the Twitch offices, like not like competitive level good, but like better than you would expect.
Bobby's competitive level good.
Yeah, no, Bobby, our only like really competitive guy is Bobby Scar. And he's really, really good at the game, but he very rarely plays with us plebes, because one thing that's known about Melee is if you play with people worse than you, you're going to get worse. So you always need to play with people on your level or better in order to improve it all. So that's been me playing a lot of Melee. And then actually right before the cast, and in between the cast and the tournament that we just ran for NetPlay Project M, I played a little bit of NetPlay Project M with some of the guys who were in the tournament. These guys have been playing for like maybe
month.
3 weeks,
Yeah.
like 3 weeks to a month, and I lost once. So y'all bad. Get on my level. That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, I have been playing a lot of The Crew, played a lot of that this week. I got back into Dark Souls 2. Started another. I made Toilet Muscles, the bandit. She's a beast. Found this sword, the Murakama, which I don't know. I have the DLC. That's why I started playing again, but I did not have a save at the point at which you can get into the DLC. So I was like, well, I might as well go kill the Rotten again, so that I have a PS3 save at the DLC, but not one on PC. Murakama is a badass weapon, by the way, and it's I don't know if it came in with the DLC though. Someone in chat can maybe correct me, but it's like the Uchigatana of Dark Souls 2, but without the bleed. It just hits like a truck, is all it does. It's this big blue katana looking thing, and it's just in the basement of the house in Majula, the map house where that skeleton comes up. I think Blonde knows what I'm talking about. Yeah, it's in the chest back there.
Really?
Yeah.
This was
Murakama.
DLC, you said?
I think maybe it came in. It didn't come in with the DLC. I'm being told. I thought it did because I swear I've gotten in that chest before and never noticed
Yeah.
that I got a weapon out of it. If I did.
Right.
But it's a monster, man, and it can be upgraded fully, like 10 levels or whatever. And it's vanilla. Okay, so there you go. It's always been in there, but it's a monster. Try it out sometime if you play again.
Murakuma, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot. It's been so long since I played. It's that giant, like, curved two-handed sword,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like a dex and strength combo.
Yeah,
It's really good.
by the way, the deck scaling in that game is horrendous.
Yeah, it's not nearly as good.
But yeah, I played that. Played a lot of WoW this week, a ton, because I'm trying to level. I want to get my paladin to 90, like the regular way, and then I'm gonna get my shaman to 60 and boost the shaman to 90 with full professions. Oh, Oh, every day they put something different in that chest up until the DLC.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's cool. That's
Oh,
very
and
cool.
it's blue
I know
now.
that.
All right.
I know the Mirakuma's available somewhere else. I think you buy it off of like maybe that weird
Huh.
like half bird blacksmith. It's like "Rah!" It's like kill me, please. That thing. I think you buy it off of that.
So, yeah. So I've been playing a good chunk of Dark Souls 2, some CS:GO, lots and lots of WoW though. Like even off stream, just tons of WoW this week, and of course Nax and the crew. I mean, the crew just made me want to play more of the crew, but then I was out of quests to do because beta. So, but we also put some build guides out on the website. Brandon wasn't here last week, so I didn't discuss them. They came out last week on the website. The July 2014 builds, you guys have been clamoring for them as we missed June, but we were waiting. We were waiting for chips to actually come out and be available, and they were. Basic things that changed, we upgraded a little bit on the 500, I think. Yeah, we got 2133 speed RAM in the 500 build despite RAM makes no fucking sense if you're building a PC right now. We managed to fit 2133 speed RAM in the $500 build. But
Yeah, it's
like,
it's silly. The RAM prices don't make sense at all right
Nope.
now. Sometimes you'll find 2133 RAM on sale for cheaper than like, normal brand 1600 or 1866. I don't understand it. I really don't. But pretty much all the builds got
they all have
better
that RAM.
this month because we moved the starter from being an Ivy Bridge processor to a Haswell processor. So we moved that one in, to new architecture, and then we moved all the other builds to the Haswell Refresh, the Devil's Canyon processors, which are awesome. I mean, you should not buy an Ivy Bridge processor today. You should you should not buy a Haswell processor today. You should only be buying the new Devil's Canyon part.
4690K, 4790K is what they're called if you're looking for them.
Like those two processors are honestly the only two processors you should be buying, unless you're buying super budget or something. Like maybe at 500, you could go AMD, or you could make other choices. But at anything like 700 plus, you should only buy a 4690K or 4790K. Even if you're spending four grand, like I really don't think you should buy Extreme. You should buy 4790K. It's that good, and like if you need something more than that, you already know you need more than that for like a specific workload or something. I don't know.
So we also upgraded the video cards, and we stayed the same in the 500. In the 800, we got a 270X ASUS Direct CU2 cooler. So that's just a monster of a card. One of the best coolers out for that as well, so you can really overclock it. 1300, we got a EVGA 770 4GB dual classified ACX cooler. Yet again, just monstrous card that you'll be able to push basically as far as you want there. And then we just went completely nuts with the video card in the 1800 build. We got a $700 780 Ti dual classified ACX cooler from EVGA with like a 1.2 gigahertz stock clock or something like that.
But the cool thing about the $1,800 build especially is that we still put an H100i, we still put DDR 2133 RAM, we still have a 240 gig SSD. I mean, like we're not compromising on anything else.
Yeah.
We didn't compromise on other things just to put that video card in. That is actually like a really well-rounded build at 1800.
Yeah. So we also have an EVGA Supernova power supply in that one. Like Brandon and I both said when we put that build together, if I had $1,800 and someone was forcing me to buy a PC with it right now, this is the build I would get pretty much straight up, part for part. Yeah. Like I wouldn't change anything.
The one thing that I wanted to mention about like the $500 price point is the new Pentium chip is if you're comfortable with overclocking, that new Pentium chip is a killer budget gaming chip. But the reason that we did not choose that chip in the 500 is because we don't we try not to count overclocking when it comes to these builds. So obviously we choose the K chips, the unlocked chips,
Yeah.
because it's always worth it to pay $20 more on the chance that you might overclock, or you might end up selling it to someone who wants to overclock. But like that Pentium chip is only useful if you're going to overclock it, and it overclocks really well. So if you're comfortable overclocking and you're on a budget, definitely consider that Pentium chip, because the overclocking results they've gotten from that, the amount of juice that chip can pull is crazy. But if you're at 500, you're maybe newer to building, or you're just getting your feet wet with an early budget build. If you're not comfortable overclocking, stick with our guide.
Yeah. So that is it for what's been going on this week. We're going to take a 2-minute commercial break and be back with some news. See you in a couple minutes. Nice opening segment, mate. Just when you get that 144 hertz, ASUS goes and one-ups everything. Although it is
Actually,
4
it's
times
amazing.
more expensive, so there is that.
Yeah, it's interesting because I mean, yeah, we'll talk about it in a second.
John immediately tweeted, "I want 2 of these," when I first linked that.
I'm not as concerned with like the resolution, but I think it's weird that they haven't released any monitors with G-Sync. The only monitor with G-Sync is this ASUS monitor. But they sell but you know what? They sell the G-Sync module for $200 by itself. You talk about a way to not get your technology adopted. Sell the module for the price of a new monitor.
Doesn't that module only work with certain monitors too?
Yeah. It
Thing
only,
is-
as far as I know, it only works with this ASUS monitor.
And AMD is making their own software-based solution for it too.
Yeah.
So
That's why I thought I might hold out to get a G-Sync monitor, but then I just haven't seen any movement to actually put these modules into monitors and get them to a reasonable price. And I thought, well, I'll see what it costs to get a G-Sync monitor, just because why not? I already have an NVIDIA card. And I saw the module itself was $200 for me to mod my monitor and put the module in it. It was going to cost me at least $200 more. I was like, no thanks. No thanks.
good lord. 200 bones for a module. It works on the 24-inch one, and it works on this one. Well, this one comes with it, obviously. And that's it. That's it.
It's going to be so niche. I don't understand how they're going to get any penetration with that.
So, first thing we're going to talk about is if you really want the most ridiculous monitor out there, it is now here, at least in Europe and Asia, very, very soon. In the US might actually be out by this point. September for North America, so no. But you could import one if you wanted to at an extreme premium, I would assume. The ASUS ROG Swift PG278Q monitor has been released. It is a 144 hertz monitor that is in 2560 by 1440p resolution.
Wow.
So if you want complete insanity, it is like $800, I think, the equivalent of $800. Response time is listed as 1 millisecond. DisplayPort 1.2 only connection, but it has a USB 3 hub built in too. So that's pretty nice. Wow, it is heavy as fuck. 15 pounds.
Holy crap.
Jesus. I will tell you right now, my 1440p monitor, which is an ASUS, it is not 15 pounds. I'll tell you that. It's heavy, but it's not 15 pounds. So if you want the best of the very best, that is probably what you want.
Well, the best of TN panels.
Yeah,
It's not.
Of course. I have the IPS 1440p, and it's beautiful. It's so wonderful.
One thing I saw, and it kind of, I haven't seen this on a monitor before, but it apparently has a hotkey to put a crosshair overlay on the monitor. And I thought, I was telling John, like, that would be considered cheating in some games.
That is definitely cheating in CS. That is definitely cheating in CS when you're no scoping with an op with that thing on.
Well, and the thing is, if I'm assuming that it's just overlaid into the monitor itself, meaning that it wouldn't even show up in recordings or demos or anything.
No, it wouldn't.
So that's
It's
I've
like your
thought
menu. It's like
I
your
have
menu.
thought that before, that like I wonder when a monitor will just have a crosshair built into the monitor. I guess this one does. So
Yep. So if you have more money than you know what to do with, grab a couple of these things. I'll tell you right now, just like you don't know the power of 120 or 144 hertz until you see it. You don't know the power of 1440p until you have it. It's so nice.
But the thing is, to run games consistently at 1440p and 144 hertz, you're gonna have to have an incredibly beefy rig.
So yeah, I have a 7970, 6 gigabit, which means it was made for these high resolutions, more so. But it's an older card now, obviously. However, I Tomb Raider on Ultra on that thing. Mine's only 60 hertz, obviously, but I was getting 30 to 40 FPS at 1440p with 6 gigabytes of video memory chugging along there to load textures and things for me. But yeah, you're gonna need a monster, probably SLI for some like Battlefield 4.
At least SLI.
Like, you're gonna need a monster PC to run it. But I feel like AJ's probably gonna get one, like pretty soon. So yeah, it's there if you want it. There was a very cool story that came out on The Verge, actually. Not even technically a gaming website, but there's a channel that like does really behind the scenes Valve stuff. Forget the name of the channel here. Valve Time is the name of the channel, but they put out a video on Valve's MMO from before Half-Life that got shelved due to Half-Life. It was called Prospero. I urge you to go check it out. The link will be in the audio download post for this podcast. I'll throw it in chat too if people want to take a look. Basically, they ended up canceling this because Half-Life took on a much bigger scope than they had originally planned. They had Half-Life and this in development simultaneously at one point, and it had like a bunch of worlds that sounded more like game lobbies would be now, or like if you've played Minecraft on a big server and there's like multiplayer lobbies for like Hunger Games and stuff, that sounded like how this was going to work, but back in 1998. So Valve was already trying to do crazy ambitious stuff. They also were planning a Steam-like system for it where you could download maps and things for the game, and like battleground type places, where you would do it though through this like external client. It's crazy because you think of Steam is so ubiquitous now, and that was 16 years ago, and Valve was already working on bringing that stuff to life, and then this got shelved. Not that Half-Life was a bad thing to shelve it for, but Valve said that someone reached out for comment from Valve, and they said, well, we're technically never done with anything, so like we still have all the Prospero stuff. Like,
it's just really ancient and sounds like a really bad breakfast cereal.
The quote in the video was basically like, we just take our time and we get around to stuff when we get around to it. Like, we're never done with it. But it was pure Valve. Like, basically what it says is like, yeah, there is Half-Life 3 when we get to it. It's like basically how Valve looks at it. It's like, we're working on this project right now, and that's just what we focus on. And then
my guess with that is that the new Source engine ended up coming along faster than they'd anticipated, and they're just waiting to put it on that. That would be my guess.
So, but Prospero isn't going to come back as any sort of thing. But a lot of ideas they had for Half-Life, for that whole universe, and eventually for Steam 6 years later when Steam actually came out, were all in this game, this MMO. They even had a female lead character in there who, to me, looked a little like a even Chell kind of, from Portal look to her. So a lot of these influences is very cool. The video is about 11 minutes long. I would highly check it out, especially if you're interested in the history of PC games or what Valve has done or how big they even thought back in 1998 when the only MMO at that point really was Ultima Online. If it was
that
even
DAOC at that point too?
was it? It might have been actually, but very limited stuff was available back then. StarCraft came out in 1998.
Oh God, I'm old.
But yeah, go check it out. It's very cool. That Valve Time channel seems interesting, especially if you're into that stuff. Next here, you can spam your Master Race emotes. The PC gaming market is maintaining a sizable sales lead over the console market. Little feather in the cap there. To be fair, though, it does count basically all PC sales and or
Steam
hardware.
sales.
So, but
Steam sales are the reason that that's the case. I mean, there's no way around it.
well, this
That's
includes like hardware sales and everything. So, $21.5 billion market. It's dead though, or it was a few years ago.
No, it's dead. Nobody plays games on PC anymore.
So, you can go check that out. But PC market is doing well. We like to highlight it when it comes up. Cliffy B did an not extensive interview really with PC Gamer, but he did an interview with PC Gamer about Project Blue Streak, his new arena shooter. He basically said he said a few interesting things in here. One of these I liked was, I looked at the platforms planned. He's talking about Battleborn, the new MOBA shooter thing from Gearbox. And he says, I looked at the platforms Battleborn is planned for, and it's PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. A lot of developers intelligently do that to mitigate risk with sales. I get that and respect that, but there's a little bit lost when you're not laser focused on developing a project specifically for one platform initially to kind of maximize what that product is best at. He just said what we say about every game that isn't specifically like, developers can sit there till they're blue in the face, and a lot of them do, and say the versions are identical. It didn't, hurt our resources to put this out for 6 platforms. Well, Cliffy B knows what he's talking about. It absolutely. I mean, we know it does as end users.
You even look at a game. You look at like a game like Call of Duty. Look at the PlayStation version of Call of Duty Black Ops. Like, we thought the PC version was bad. It wasn't even close when you looked at the PlayStation version. That shit ran at legit 15 FPS. It was terrible.
Yep. And it's another reason why, like, a game like Battlefield 4, if that had been a PC only game, obviously maybe their scope gets toned down, maybe their budget's smaller, but man, it would have just worked. And that thing was broken on every platform it came out for. So
I think you also have, I think if you're making a PC only game and well, maybe this is less true now, but you know that your input device is going to be mouse and keyboard, I think there's definitely there has to be some focus lost when you're talking about multi-platform and having to adapt to different controllers, just because controller and mouse and keyboard are so different that you have to think, okay, is this game going to play correctly with both control schemes?
right.
And that answer is probably never a 100% yes. It's like, yes, it's good enough on one and like great on the other. There are very few games where I think it's like an excellent experience on both.
Yeah. Another thing here that will make people who play Quake or did play Quake or enjoy Halo very happy about what this new game may bring. He doesn't want this to play like, Iron Sight's Twitch, you're dead, Call of Duty type lethality, where there's no sort of, you hardly ever have a drawn out firefight in Call of Duty, in other words, or Counter-Strike actually, for that matter. Usually someone's dead very quickly if two of you are facing up. But Halo, he wants to have the dance, as he calls it, like Quake and Halo.
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein, old Unreal used to.
Give me a headshot sound though, please. Just a little dink.
Just a little
missing.
dink.
That's been missing from FPSs since Enemy Territory, and that's the most satisfying part of Enemy Territory to me, was when you hear that little dink from halfway across the map.
The hit sounds and then the dinks when it's headshots.
Yep. He says he wants it where one person acquires another, starts opening up shots, and the other person has a shot at turning the table if they either find some health or a pickup or get lucky. He doesn't want snipers from a million miles away. He doesn't want any of that. He wants it to be incredibly skill-based and all that kind of stuff. So And it sounds like the maps will be very much Quake or Unreal, not the Unreal Vehicle maps, but
Quake had better maps than Unreal, but Unreal had.
But that
had
size is what I was saying.
guns.
Yeah, those size of maps is what he's trying to do. So, hopefully it works out for him. You can check out the interview over on PC Gamer. It's actually really good. He has a lot of good things to say about PC gaming as well.
He apparently just opened a bar and restaurant too.
He did.
Yeah, he did in North Carolina.
Yep. Probably in Raleigh. It's probably where they just go drink after.
It was an interesting article to read there because he said, I've played games for so long and I kind of just saw there's just a bunch of systems that work together and figured, how do I apply that to a restaurant? And did it.
Yep. So, speaking of Cliffy B's former company, Epic, Unreal Tournament is chugging along. They've put out some videos and screenshots, some level design. As they said they were going to be, they're being incredibly open about what they're working on and what is being done. I will say this, there's not that much that's super interesting other than maybe the scale of the level that they show as far as it being very much a Quake type level size-wise. The lighting in that Unreal 4 engine,
So good.
dear God. I really hope, obviously they know how to use it best right now. So, I mean, they made the fucking engine. If we start seeing games do even what is done in these art demos, essentially, in these Unreal videos, man, Unreal 4 is going to look incredible. Just these little videos, the textures.
You
and everything.
even if you look at the lighting that Jared did in Daylight, Daylight doesn't look fantastic, but you can see little glimpses of what the engine's capable of just with lighting and texturing and bump mapping and shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's really that engine is really robust. I think it's probably the best there is right now.
When they show this spaceport and they've got the sort of track lighting on the bottom to show, kind of light up your pathway, and then they have it mirrored in the sort of marble or metal floor there. Yes, other engines have done that in the past, but it really doesn't look as real. The lighting in this just looks real. It has another quality about it compared to previous engines. We'll have to see what happens between this and id Tech 6, which one looks better at its peak here, because they're going to be dueling for it, I think, now that Crytek has no money. So, a few quick notes here on some game releases. Dragon Age Inquisition delayed until November. I believe it was originally coming out in September. That's been pushed back a couple months. So if you're into Dragon Age, you got to wait a little bit longer. The new Lord of the Rings game, Nick Fenton just perked up somewhere. The Shadows of Mordor game that our buddy Rick Leslie worked on is coming out early, coming out 5 days earlier than it was going to come out, which is odd, sort of. No real reason given for why that is occurring, but and Telltale has confirmed that there will be a season 3 of The Walking Dead, which, having played
That's
through
shocking.
most of season, not shocking at all, but having played through most of season 2, I don't know that I want to play more of The Walking Dead.
Wow.
Season 2 is not that good.
I've heard
It's just not.
it dropped off in quality pretty
It's
hard.
just not. They have failed to recreate the tie.
They had a
and
lot
feel.
to live up to with
They
season
Yeah, it
did.
has to be what they did with the first game. It's so hard.
Yeah. I mean, that was incredible. I would have never played a game like that until I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get into it, and then completely in love with it by the end. So, yeah, they had a lot to live up to.
Battlefield
see.
Hardline got delayed till 2015.
It did. That wasn't really news, though.
No, that's not.
Yeah. So if you
I don't know why
pre-ordered Battlefield
they kidded
Hardline,
themselves that it was going to come out in 2014.
they're working on the single-player campaign because we all know how those have been outside of Bad Company 2, how good those single players have been for Battlefield games. No, nobody wants it. New releases this week. Monday, The Room, not the movie.
Son of a bitch.
The
I wanted it
mobile
to be a
game,
movie game.
This was a mobile hit, actually, and having played Year Walk this year, and having heard everything I've heard about The Room, I will definitely be picking this up. Year Walk was also a mobile port. Fucking phenomenal game. But The Room comes out tomorrow. It's sort of a puzzle slash I don't even know if horror is the right word, but kind of creepy ambience in the room. But that comes out July 28th. Tuesday, big day.
The hype for Tuesday.
I can't even do this. Firefall comes out Tuesday.
Not the biggest release of that day.
No, definitely not. Firefall comes out, though. A game that was started 6 years ago has went through 4 redesigns, run out of money, lost its main lead creator, and put a really fucking annoying thing in the PAX East lobby.
We will
They do
never
have the
forgive you
best.
for that.
They do have the
Firefall.
best booth carpet, though.
Their booth
It's just
carpet is
top-notch.
godlike.
It's top notch, dude.
Well played on the booth carpet, man.
Prepare to see Firefall a bunch on Twitch, of course. I'm sure they'll blitz. But yeah. I've tried that game 3 separate times.
Same.
3 separate builds.
Yep. It's always awful.
And it was 3 separate games.
Yes, pretty much. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. But the bigger release of Tuesday has to be Dude Pile Penis Physics Simulator. Mount Your Friends.
Yeah.
Coming to Steam finally. The day this got greenlighted, we had a whole thing on the show for this. We were very excited. The dongs in this game, phenomenal dong physics.
Rust levels of dong.
Not quite rust levels because they're not naked dongs. They are in dude bikinis. So
You can see the shape. They're definitely dongs.
yeah, they're definitely dongs. Mount Your Friends. It's basically QWOP, but you're trying to stack dudes. You're trying to stack dudes on one another by any means necessary. And yes, I believe it is multiplayer.
Yeah, you and your friends swap turns stacking dudes on one another.
And let
That's
me
the
tell
whole
you,
game.
I'm playing The Walking Dead on Monday, and you will want to tune in for that. But Tuesday, Mr. Hexadecimal here is doing a launch stream for
Damn
Mount
right we
Your
are.
Friends. So we
How
will
can
be.
we not?
Yeah, it is KBMOD the game. It's like they made it for us.
I'm still not convinced that Fat Attack didn't actually make this game, and just was like, well, I can't actually call it KBMOD the game, so I'll just call it Dude Pile.
Mount
We
Your
have that
Friends.
copyright.
Look at those nipples too. Good God. And you're all mounting on top of a goat initially?
Yes,
Which is-
a goat is on a pole, and then you have to get on the goat. And there's
Look at the dongs.
There's a great scene in that little trailer where it's like a guy's grape dong is trying to get as close to his buddy's face as humanly possible. And I was just like, we gotta play this game. We gotta play this game.
Oh my God, how much is it? Oh, it doesn't have a price yet.
It's I think it's gonna be like 10. If it's more than $10, I'll be really stunned.
Yeah. So Mount Your Friends.
But you also still buy it, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we're gonna
It could
be,
be a $60 game, and you would buy that.
I think we're gonna give away a couple copies as well, because we should.
I feel like the guys that developed this game watched the podcast a bunch of times and was like, this could actually be hilarious.
Wait. The Dude Mans have names?
Oh man, they do? It's even
They have
better.
names?
Solid.
Okay, Fat Attack is
So you can
really...
stack David on top of Bernard and stuff.
Yeah.
Bernard is a bottom bitch.
Christ. So yeah, Mount Your Friends. Also, Elite Dangerous, which is a new MMO type deal, space combat, that kind of thing. You can get it in beta off their website for $75. So
And there's a $50 DLC add-on option as well.
yes, so you can pay $125 if you want. I have heard really good things about this game. To be fair to this game, but that is a really high price to entry for a beta.
Also, to
is-
be fair, I'm pretty sure that at one point there was only a $125 option. Like, you just paid that to get in, and they finally split it into, well, maybe you just want the base game.
Wait, hold up. This has just been pushed up another level. You can put your own faces on the dudes in Mount Your Friends.
Fuck, now I need early access to it so I can build the dudes.
Oh my God. Jesus.
I eagerly await the highlights we're going to have from this game.
Good Lord. Wednesday, July 30th, Crypt of the NecroDancer. A game that's been getting a lot of play on Twitch. It's like a rhythm-based roguelike dungeon crawler thing. Blah, have
And
you
it's
played this?
super fun. Yeah, I actually just got beta access. I've only played it once. Or I think it's actually technically an alpha. It's early anyway. whatever the access I have. Like they have a bunch of disclaimers, it's not a finished product, blah blah blah, which is crazy to me because it's actually really good. Like I haven't had a single problem so far. I'm sure there are some bugs here and there, but it's really polished. Like the gameplay is really fluid. And it's a very interesting sort of gameplay because you automatically attack anything that you come in range with, but it's a weird process figuring out how exactly enemies attack you because every enemy has a pattern or at least some sort of RNG that it'll obey to the beat. So you kind of have to figure out when it's safe to approach enemies because there is no button to attack. The only buttons in the game are the directional keys because it's made to be played with a dance pad. So even like using items, you have to press a combination of keys. So like drop a bomb is like left and down or something like that. So it's really interesting though. It plays really well. The music is incredible, which is the most important part of it. Only thing I kind of
Danny Baranowski did the music. The guy who did the original Isaac music.
Super Meat Boy, I believe.
Yes, I think he might have. Yeah.
Yeah, he did Meat Boy.
And actually, he was the one that gave me a beta key. Eric Faustus Gaming put me in contact with him, and we exchanged some banter. And he was like, "Here, have a code."
Yeah, he's friends with Flanlord, who used to frequent our halls. He's making a game though, so he's not around much anymore.
Shout outs to Flanlord. The only like kind of annoying thing is like when you die and you're like, okay, I want to get back to the next level as quickly as possible because I want to make some progress, but you're limited to the speed of the beat. You can't move outside of the beat of the song. So I think the first level is like on a relatively slow tempo. So you feel, and like the second or third level that maybe you died on is like a lot faster. So there's that sudden like drop in speed, and you're just like you get like a really good rhythm going on, and then you're just kind of brought down to that. But nature of the game, it's still really good.
I'm just really excited to see new rhythm games coming out. Like rhythm games as a genre is so good. Like you have like pop and music, Beat Mania, Guitar Hero, Rock Band, like, but it all just seemed to die because Neversoft kind of milked Rock Band dry. Or Guitar Hero rather.
Sick of it. Yeah,
they just milked Guitar Hero. It was like worse than what they've done with Call of Duty and what they did with Tony Hawk. So
they were pumping out like 3 games a year.
Yeah, there was like in one year there was like World Tour Rock the 80s and like Aerosmith or something. It's like
Beatles had a Rock Band. Beatles were
but to see like new styles of rhythm games coming out is really interesting to me because I like them and I'm really good at rhythm games. That's probably the genre that I'm best at. So
you were a
I'm
Guitar
really
Hero
excited.
machine.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what they do with them.
Yeah. So yeah, it is really fun. It's not exactly like a rhythm game because there's a lot more that goes into it than just playing rhythm. But I mean, Osu's really big now too. Osu's been taking off on our site. Like more and more. Osu was that game. It's like it's very similar. If anybody's ever played Elite Beat Agents on the Nintendo DS, which is also a really fun rhythm game, it's basically the same thing. You just kind of like click these circles as a circle shrinks inside to a smaller circle, and then when they line up, you have to click. But it gets really intense, really high, fast paced, kind of crazy EDM music. And what it used to be is league players would play it while they were waiting for competitive queues to pop, because those queues take forever. So they would sit there and just play some Osu. It keeps your fingers loose, keeps your reactions good. And now all of a sudden there are just people on our site playing only Osu. So that's
some of them are like ridiculous.
Oh yeah, like absurdly good. Like these people who are not artists at all will go out and buy a drawing tablet because it's easier to play on a tablet than with a mouse. That's how hardcore some people play.
Yeah, I've tried the game before, and I bought Ada a drawing tablet because she likes to do photo editing and stuff, and I swapped that over to my desktop.
Yeah,
and play with that sometimes.
Nice. Last game. LA Cops, which I just found before the cast started, is going into early access. It is a game about 70s cops in LA. And it's basically XCOM, but with 70s cops.
This sounds
That
fantastic.
is what it is. And I'm just like, at first I was like, haha, 70s cops. Wait a minute, this is XCOM. And now I'm kind of down with it. So LA Cops coming to early access next Friday, or this Friday. A few little KBMOD news and notes that I forgot to mention. I'd like to welcome Mr. Matty Mouse, going to be writing for the site, as he has a lot of industry contacts.
Oh man, huge mistake.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
And Fedsky,
how will he keep up with our normal torrent of content?
I know. I don't know what he's going to do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hopefully he makes us have a little bit more.
We need a new large-scale RPG to come out so we can get Blah to write something again.
I know, right? God, Skyrim mods. That's how we got Blah. And we're also got Fedsky and Titty Titty. Also, welcome to the stream team officially. Like, editor access to the channel now for both those dudes. They tend to stream during the day with League of Legends and Dark Souls, but always make sure to check out KBMOD.com/schedule for the schedule every week. We update it constantly with whoever's doing stuff, so make sure you check there for all the streams. We're going to take another quick 2-minute break, and then we'll be back with viewer questions. Official foreign correspondent, yeah. Upside down correspondent, Matty Mouse.
I'm actually really enjoying leveling this mage.
What level are you now?
42.
Oh shit, you should queue with my shaman.
That's
Alright,
the
I'll do that.
answer.
Yeah, he was like level 25 a day ago, so
She's 44, 45. She
I'll
heals
probably
though.
catch up tonight.
Yeah. Got the heals going.
I'm
Shaman
just gonna
healing,
get him to
aka
60, and then I'll buy him to 90.
aka Riptide and go AFK. That's pretty much all you do in low level dungeons.
I'm gonna get this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get this mage to 60 and bump him to 90. Then I'm gonna get my monk to 90, and then I'll have every class that I've ever wanted to play at 90. So, though the temptation for a death knight is really strong, just because it's so quick from 55 to 60.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
plus
but then you have to
they're-
go through that fucking starting zone.
They're OP as shit.
I actually never even finished the starting zone for the Death Knight because it was so terrible.
It is terrible.
It wasn't terrible when it first launched. Like when it first launched, it was
When you
super cool just because it was unique. And now it's just like
Yeah.
it's too much. Like the goblin and Worgen starting areas are fucking phenomenal though.
The Death Knight zone could get a little bit of a revamp. Like the story doesn't
Yeah.
even matter anymore. All that shit's like
It's done
over.
with, yeah. It's like, how are there still new Death Knights? This doesn't make any sense.
Stop. Stop.
There weren't even like that many Death Knights to begin with to make them like. I mean, it was cool to add them as a playable class, but like lore-wise, it doesn't make any sense that there's this many Death Knights in the world because they were kind of rare. But whatever.
Out your fucking friends. Good lord. Hex, get in touch with the devs.
Yeah, I want to get a hold of this game now so I can put all the emote faces on on the users,
That
but
would be
on the dudes.
pretty awesome.
Please make a Dan's game.
God.
Please. It's like Dan's Gaming just has my favorite emote, my favorite global emote.
Power Hoop keeps tweeting about Crawl, and I have it sitting here, and it's local multiplayer only, and it's driving me insane. I want to play that game so badly.
Oh yeah, Crawl looks so good.
We'll
needs
play
that
it.
play.
We'll couch it up.
It's excellent. It's every time that we have people over, I'm like, you guys, you're gonna sit down and play Crawl now because I only get to play with local people. And every time, like people that don't play video games are like, that game was fucking awesome. Can we play some more?
Powerfall Ascension is the same exact way.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Towerfall
is so good.
is fantastic.
It's phenomenal.
I didn't cut the highlights of it yet, but we had so much hype, dude. It was so good.
It gets so crazy and like everybody's at each other's throats about it. It's so good and it's only local. It's so
Sean
bad.
is ridiculous at that game.
Pappy
Absolutely.
is
yeah,
a
we
Towerfall
was.
assassin. Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, we
Alright.
have a guy in our office who's just like really good at it.
Yeah,
He money matches people in it.
that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he has like an entire list on a whiteboard of his money matches and then what his odds are. He'll bet his $100 to your $10 that he will beat you in Civ 5.
Crazy.
Yeah, he's apparently really good at Civ
Michael
5. I don't know.
D. Michael D. Writing in. Yeah, he says, I have 2 questions. What game should I use to prepare myself for Air Force basic military training in a week? I've thought about Counter-Strike, but there is no lean and ADS. I do know how to use tactical crouch the entire 2 months in training. So what games? Mount Your Friends, obviously.
Call of Duty Ghosts.
I think you're muted, Brandon.
Yeah.
Not your friends will show you how to get kicked out of the army.
There you go.
If you
Yeah.
were trying to leave.
No, actually, they revoked that. You can serve in the
I
RDK
know.
now.
But
Well, but
Yeah.
maybe Mount Your Friends shows you how to mount them in subtle ways.
Mount Your Friends will
We don't
prepare
know.
you for hazing.
It will also prepare you for having to get your comrades together to get over a large wall or something like that.
Yeah,
That's
very
true.
true. I mean,
Just
you guys
that's
have
true.
glue your hands to each other's hands.
And use a goat as the base.
Yeah.
I personally recommend Star Fox if you're joining the Air Force.
It's very
'Cause
realistic.
It's incredibly realistic. If you don't use the boost
real
to get
world
through, you're
operates
going
at
to
that frame
die.
rate as well. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Strike Vector. Play a lot of Strike Vector as well.
Yeah,
The
also
planes transform
realistic.
into robots in the Air Force, right?
Just play some
I think
America's
so,
Army.
yeah.
I think you get a sweet icon next to your name if you're actually in the military.
He had some in-game swag.
For signing up for the army.
For signing up to get shot at,
For
you get some
For,
swag.
choosing,
in
for
this.
Oh my
choosing
God,
your
dude.
career in the military, you get some in-game swag.
You get a custom avatar.
We could win all of these wars overnight. We just did a tie-in hat for TF2. We would be done.
Gamify your career.
God damn it. Yeah, I mean, none really. Arma, maybe.
Arma's not bad.
If you were in a hardcore Arma clan, you might actually get some real military strategy out of that. But
Arma teaches you how to sit still for a long period of time.
yeah,
You can try the War Z to prepare you for disappointment. I'm sorry, Infestation Survivor Stories.
yeah, don't, yeah. You can try the Binding of Isaac in case you're ever trapped in some insurgent's basement.
Yep.
You need to get out using only your tears. It's very effective for a small child. I'm sure you can do it as well.
Very true.
For his
See him with his face pressed against the wall crying to try and make his tears erode his prison cell. What the fuck? It's the worst advice ever. Just cry a lot. You'll get out of the search
just cry a lot, you'll be good.
It'll be fine, dude.
God
You
damn
can
it.
try Goat Simulator. I know there's a lot of goats over there. To my knowledge, a lot of goat farmers.
Be like, listen,
I think.
your goats can skateboard, right? Because mine can. Over
I
here
think
in
most
America.
most goats are capable of skateboarding. It's just a matter of teaching them.
Well, listen, you need to be prepared for goat skateboarding.
Yo, definitely.
Everyone's
have that
saying- It's the
goat
chair
skateboard
force
block.
anyway. He's not going anywhere. Chat talking shit on the Air
The
Force.
chair force. I
He
missed
has-
that part.
He has a second question here. He's gonna buy a new gaming computer. He wants a laptop so he won't have to ship it all the time when he moves. Price range is $4,000. Yo,
Dude, if you have $4,000, you get whatever you want.
yeah.
Why are you joining the military?
But what he wants to know is
why don't you just buy a high-end gaming laptop for every destination you could possibly move to? Just like have one in every city strategically located throughout the world.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
You could buy 5 of our $800 builds.
He wants to know though which brands are good for gaming laptops. He
Only.
mentions,
Oh, finish this because it's great.
brands like Alienware and Razer, maybe an iPad Mini.
Do that.
iPad
Actually-
Mini's a strong choice.
Actually, the newest version of the Razer Blade is fucking phenomenal, from what I've heard.
It kind of depends. It depends on if you're okay having a really heavy laptop or if it really is going to be portable. Because the Blade is probably a good choice if you care about portability. But otherwise, like if you actually want a great gaming laptop, you can get yourself, a
ASUS.
25 pound 17-inch laptop that'll run everything at a really
ASUS
nice
has
frame rate.
SLI laptops, so I
Yep.
mean, like
You can get
ProStar is another.
ProStar is good.
good place to
Falcon
buy.
Northwest at that price point is good.
Yeah.
Razer Blade.
Yep. Yeah. You've got the money for a print. 4,000 is actually probably a lot more than even the highest end is probably going to be.
You can definitely
Really?
push $4,000 with
Okay.
a laptop. But that's the thing is if you're looking for something portable, there's a ceiling at which they can fit that hardware in and keep the weight down. So it kind of just depends on if you're willing to carry. I mean, you can ask John what carrying a 20-pound laptop around is like. It's not.
Laptop's
It's not
like 23 pounds. It has, I think it has two 560Ms or whatever.
Jesus Christ.
Damn.
Yeah, you pay a price.
He ends an email. I also love the podcast. I've listened to every one since you bro started, which, by the way, was 3 years ago last week. I figured this out. 3 years to the day of the last podcast. Episode 1, July 20th, 2011. So, 10 out of 10 would unad block again. Thank you very much.
Oh, that's nice. Good guy.
Next question. is
Read
gonna
it
be-
exactly
From
like
someone
it
who
says.
probably should go in the Air Force.
gonna desperately try to read this as it is. Hardballer25 tweets, "We do some people like the red popsicles and other like blue. I like purple, so am I strange?"
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not
You're
sure that
pretty
the voice
goddamn
inflection was right, but who knows?
Now, to clarify, he was asking about popsicles and people's preferred flavors.
No. If you read the question again, he is asking about popsicles.
Popsicles.
Okay.
Popsicles?
I think
I'm
maybe you read that like isosceles, like popsosceles.
Popsosceles
Anonymous?
triangles? I don't...
You are strange, hardballer. That's just what it comes down to. Is yes.
Generally
I'll answer.
speaking,
The
yeah,
answer
you're
is
pretty
shut up,
weird.
hardballer.
I just love the beginning. We do some people like...
It's like he's just randomly hitting keys on his phone, and it's trying desperately to autocorrect it to something that makes sense.
That's the best explanation I've ever heard of how he types. That his autocorrect is just against him.
So I mean,
I don't know that you're
popsosceles.
strange for liking that color popsicle, but you are strange, so yes.
Yeah, you are just flat out strange. This next question from Aaron0415. I'm going to read it as is, which is very important. It's very important that you get your spacing correctly, people.
Brandon will proofread your tweet.
I have been informed of a missing Barkley B. Cool times. My dog's name is Barkley. He may be on the run. Who should I contact?
That was the perfect way to read that tweet.
You want to contact Coors Light, first of all, because, I mean, he worked for them. So, I mean, your dog
Well,
worked for
no.
Coors
Barkley
Light.
B Cool Times works for Coors Light, but I don't
Barkley
know
B
who
doesn't.
Barkley B is. This is he
Is
just
that-
thinks it's cool that Barkley B is missing.
Is that Charles Barkley's like nickname?
Yo,
Because
Barkley B!
because Charles Barkley's probably still locked away after losing to a girl. 5'0" blocked his shot.
Wow.
Wow, dude.
Get pooped on, Charles. He also can't golf for shit. Best swing,
This
though,
girl,
ever.
5'0", blocked my shot.
I have been informed of a missing Barkley B. Cool times.
There's no other way that
He's in
question
chat.
can be read.
Damn it. My autocorrect fucked me over.
If you haven't learned by now, we read the questions as they are.
Contact your local animal shelter, though, seriously. Because, I mean, if this was Barkley B. Cool times, yeah. Coors Light
Just
all
look
the
for
way.
a dog in sunglasses.
Yeah.
How many
not-
could there
Hard to
be?
find.
There's not many of them. He's so fucking cool, though.
As much as you might think that would be a highly desirable adoption trait, some people find the fact that they can't read his eyes off-putting. The sunglasses block his intentions. He's very shady.
Also, like, you may want to just ask your police department because they may have brought him in for questioning.
Please find this dog. That picture is too good. It's him on the Coors Light train. Jesus Christ. Which is going 27,000 miles an hour, of course. With no
The
reins.
silver bullet.
It's
Why?
so fucking so- Where's It's going straight to Dunkus's mouth right now. All right, next question. And this one I thought said something different than it did, and it was better that way. Etch-a-Sketch asks, if you go on a vacation to an exotic location, would you just sit in one place and watch anime all day?
Probably.
No.
That
But
would be
don't
an
like
exotic
anime.
vacation.
I thought initially this was, if you go on a vacation to an exotic lotion, would you just sit in one place and watch anime all day? And in
Yes,
that case,
absolutely.
yeah. I mean, if I've got some exotic lotion and some waifus, the
Look
day
out.
is already planned.
It's
You
gonna
know?
be lining up the waifus.
Yeah, I just wanted to read that because lotion. At Winst8, with finally a legitimate, real question. What cherry switches do the KBMOD people use? Which would you recommend? I use reds. I don't know what I'd recommend.
I use blue, but I'd probably recommend browns if you're just like it's your first mechanical. So, because blues are a little bit clicky, and a lot of people don't realize how loud they are until they regret purchasing them because they're too loud.
Yeah.
I think mine are blues. I have a K70. Anybody
If
know?
you have a K70, those. Wait.
If you're the one typing right now that I hear in the background, then yes, you have blues.
No.
I have a K70 as well, and they're reds. But mine.
My work
They
PC.
make them. They make them in different.
Your work PC are blues, Nick.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
make them
use-
in different ones.
I use blues
I
at
think
home.
blues are really good for typing.
Yeah.
That's
I
like
actually
blues a
want
lot.
greens, but
So
they're
You can-
difficult to find.
you can check out our review of the Corsair K70 on KBMOD.com.
I would recommend though, if you can, like go to a Fry's or somewhere that actually carries mechanical keyboard and try them. It's
Yeah.
really hard to explain which one you would like best without just trying it.
It's also hard to explain the difference having a keyboard that you like.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a life-changing experience.
Yeah. It's so
And
much
the
better.
thing with
really
mechanicals
is.
too, at least what my experience with blues was that when I first got it, I didn't like it because I had only ever used membrane keyboards, and it's so different from that you have to get used to it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But now I
Big
would
time.
never go back.
Yeah, I have the monoprice Cherry MX Blue setup, and anything else that's not switches now feels like typing on mashed potatoes. It's terrible.
Yep.
That is
That's
what
a-
a membrane keyboard
an
is
apt
like.
description.
It's like typing
I have-
mashed potatoes.
I have my old Logitech G15 on my streaming PC, and I just like it's like
That
dipping my
keyboard is
hands.
so fucking good, though.
It was, but it's like
for
dipping my
today.
hands in garbage now. Whenever I type on it, it's just like, ugh. It's so bad.
My hands in garbage.
Just soggy, wet garbage.
It somehow has keyboard keys on it.
Sean, though, Sean is the real OG. Sean, but not heard in chat with the Model M swagger. Still rolling with the
Old school.
Model M.
Gave one away for Extra Life.
Yep. I think he's still got a couple, so Sean sticks with those. Last email. It's a long one. It has a real question though at the end. Tom Z writes. Let me collect myself from just the beginning. Hail Twitler, KBMOD comrades, and hello. I apologize if my English is bad, as my first language is the so-called internet elite speak. As such, I have recently defected from Mother 4chan, who have been fighting the Tumblr oppression to your great freedom land of America,
Oh my God.
which isn't a place on the internet. But anyway,
Fair enough.
after the horrible execution of Flight Meme Hard 17, hundreds of dank souls were lost, as it killed hundreds of innocent memeing rusers, including several copy pasta researchers sent from Reddit. I decided to better adjust to your country by watching the entire series of The King of Queens, starring the hilarious and somewhat illustrious. Let me restart this. I decided to better adjust to your country by watching the entire series of The King of Queens, starring the hilarious and somewhat illustrious porn star Kevin James.
I like
Things
the
I-
hilarious in quotes.
Things I never want to see in porn include Kevin James.
Disagree.
I love him.
My question to you, my Newfoundlandsman, is what other hilarious situational comedies should I watch to better adapt to your American witticisms? And what would be the title of your own early 90s, early 2000s situational comedy after you receive after years of your standing up comedy set in 2014? Dos Vidania and long live Mother 4chan. Sincerely, Zin6. So basically, he's asking us what our favorite sitcoms were at one point or another.
That's a long way around to that question.
Yeah.
Good way to ask it, though.
That's a
Yeah.
good backstory, though.
Seinfeld, an all-timer for me, anyway.
Seinfeld is just the best show ever.
Yeah.
There's no way
I'm
around
just now watching that, and it's really good.
it. What?
Well, I was a
you need,
kid
you
when
need to
I was
watch.
young.
You
Like,
need to
I was
watch
a kid.
all of it.
Yeah,
I
watch
know,
the
but
whole
it's
thing.
on TBS about 10 times a day. So
It's true.
you could have watched all of it.
No
by
exaggeration.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of Friends when I was a kid.
That is the highest grossing television show of all time.
What, Friends?
No, Seinfeld.
Oh.
It made Jerry Seinfeld $800 million. So
It should. The writing is so good.
Yep. It's amazing. Oh, Tyler Perry's Rap Game Policy is also a really good sitcom.
I would say it's required viewing.
If you
To
haven't
understand
seen Tyler Perry's Rap Game Policy, we produced it. We're still
Short run.
pitching it to multiple networks. We already have Wanda Sykes in as Beyonce. Why we didn't try to get Beyonce to play Beyonce, I don't know. Whoopi Goldberg as Lil Wayne. Steve Buscemi as Jimmy Carter, and Dave Chappelle as Jay-Z. It's a great and wonderful sitcom about Jay-Z and Jimmy Carter living together. So with Lil Wayne. So it is without a doubt a show. The quote from Time. Tyler Perry is history's greatest monster. Jesus
this
Christ.
guy.
Oh, I remember when we came up with that. We took a whole stream and just came up with show ideas. But Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah.
If you
Which
haven't-
actually takes place in Canada.
yeah,
So I don't know how well that would serve your purposes.
it's fine. It works.
There's a Rickism for every situation, so.
Trailer Park
That's true.
Boys. I'm trying to think of other sitcoms. I haven't watched any recent sitcoms at all. Like none.
The only one that I watch is The New Girl.
But like Arrested Development doesn't even count. That's not even a sitcom, really.
Well, he's asking what would be the title of our situational comedy. I was thinking, but none of us really have a last name that would work, like as Seinfeld.
Yeah, like Seinfeld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really unique name that seems to work, but I don't know. Johnson.
Yeah. Johnson's so generic, though.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Boy Meets World. Thank you for bringing up Boy Meets World. There is now a Girl Meets World,
Mm-hmm.
And
And I hear it's
One
actually
original
pretty
cast.
good.
and I want to die.
No, I've heard it's actually pretty good. People were talking about it. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm amazed that people aren't just immediately crapping on it.
Dalesy loves it. I don't know why, but he does. So yeah, I would watch PC Master Race, the show. I would watch that. Just be tons of fedoras.
Be like our own version of the IT crowd.
Yeah. Many of us have experience in that anyway at this point, so
A mixture of like the IT crowd and the league, like
Yeah.
that kind. The IT
Yeah.
crowd's situations, but the league's awful humor.
you just described the KBMOD podcast. It's like,
Yes.
Pretty much,
it's like
yeah.
really what you did. So that is it though for this week. Episode Rum 151 now over. Thank you for coming out, guys. Make sure you check out the website, kbmod.com, kbmod.com/schedule for all the streams this week. As we said, mount your friends Tuesday, giving
Get
away
ready.
some copies.
You can mount them before Tuesday too,
Yeah,
but
I
that's
mean,
when the
yeah.
game comes out.
Yeah,
You should
could.
probably stretch with like a pre-stream mount, like get a couple in this weekend to prep yourself for Tuesday.
Just make sure you stretch. That's all I ask.
Yep.
Brandon really hates when you're all tightened up.
You don't want to cramp up when you're piling yourself onto some dudes, so
Nah,
get those
dude.
stretches in there.
But yeah, make sure you follow the channel if you haven't here on Twitch. And we'll be back next week with Gold Glove as our guest next week. Prepare your chat and nooses for that. He only gets a very small viewership though, so I don't think it's going to be a problem.
It's like 8 people.
Yeah, like 18,000 people or something. It's fine. Anyway,
Can't wait to be
for him to blow
deduced.
yeah. So Gold Glove will be on next week. We'll see you guys then as we reunite half of You Ain't Grizz Baby will be on the podcast that week. So we will see you guys then. Later on,
Later.
bros.
Peace.